All right, we are live. Welcome to another episode of Explain It with my co-host Ingrid, myself, Caroline. Sorry, I'm on the treadmill right down here. And then we also have Abraham Gray with us. So, what's up, dog?
You can be much taller.
Can you hear me? Can you hear us well? Are we coming in clear? Perfect. Speaking up for my MacBook. So, Abraham, we just got to spend an awesome weekend with you. At the Sub-2 Mastermind. And I know that you have an event coming up at the end of February that we'd like to go to.
Yes,
if it works
out. You're definitely coming. What do you mean you'd like to? You're definitely coming.
Okay. So we'll talk about it a few times through this podcast, but what is it in the end of February? When is it? And then are there any more slots open?
Yeah, it's in your hometown near Dunedin. No,
yeah.
Tampa, Florida. Yeah. So the last weekend, 24th, 25th, 26th of February.
Okay, what is it?
We are going to be teaching people everything about creative business buying. So how to find businesses, how to figure out what they're worth, how to negotiate them, how to come up with the money, and basically how to do it without using any of your money, creative finance, and then how to run them, how to operate them, how to sell them, basically everything else in between.
Okay. So similar to what we're doing with buying houses with none of our own money, you're doing the exact same thing buying businesses. You're getting is it a private money lender when you're doing that? Or are you
it's a lot of owner finance stuff too, and then like you could borrow money on a lot of different assets the business has, and there's different types of loans you can get as well.
Okay, cool. So you have an event going on at the end. We will talk about all of that. Who are you for everybody who's first time listening in, getting to know who Abraham Gray is?
Yeah, Abraham. Basically, I've been buying properties and businesses since I started with business back when I was 15. I'm 47. I'll be 48 this year.
You started buying businesses when you were 15?
I started my first business when I was 15. And my first business that was making good money, I started when I was 15. And I was able to make enough money and save like $1 million in my bank account by the time I was 19.
What was your first business?
So it was sports cars, collectible sports cars. I collected baseball cards, football cards my whole life when I was a little kid. And then I turned it into a business when I was 15. So it became really profitable. And then I bought my first property when I was 22.
Okay.
And I bought my first one to live in. And then literally 6 months later, I bought 3 rental properties. And then I went from rental properties to buying a ton more rental properties, fix and flips. And actually, back in the early 2000s, I bought some Sub-2s. I didn't even know. I mean, they weren't called Sub-2s back then. But
they called us. We're in the middle of a recession. Buy something. Take it off.
Yeah. So, and I would buy over the last 20 years, I probably bought one owner finance Sub-2 property, once every 2 years I'd buy one. And then, of course, I joined Sub-2. Pace Morby's group back in September, October 2020, the first year he had it. And he motivated me to instead of buying one every 2 years, to buying one every month, then, one every other week. And now I'm buying a couple every single week. So I have over 100 and something properties that I bought Sub-2 owner finance over the last few years.
Oh my gosh.
Are you still fixing and flipping too, or is it mainly?
No. I'm fixing and flipping mainly. So for the last 2.5 years, I have literally been buying about one home every single day of cash. So about 30 homes a month, and I've been fixing and flipping them. But over the last 5-6 months, the market kind of went to crap. So I've been trying to buy 30, but it's hard. So it's been down to 15 a month for the last 4 or 5 months. But for 2 years. Literally, I was buying a house every day, fixing them, flipping them, and my average profit was about $35,000. So I was making about $1 million a month in profit just on fixing and flipping for the last 2.5 years until, like I said, about 5-6 months ago. And then now I'm still getting a dozen or so right now, but I'm not making. Now I'm making closer to 20 some thousand a house just because for the first 2 years I never lost money on one house. Literally, I bought.
Wow.
300 houses a year, never lost a penny on one house. And I did mess up on a few, and I did, I couldn't sell them right when I was trying to sell them but every single month they went up. So I just waited, and then it caught up, and then I was able to sell it. So if the market wasn't going up, I probably would have lost on some. But the last 6 months, if you fuck up and you pay too much, you're done. There's no catching up. If anything, it's staying the same or going down. So about 25% of the homes I bought over the last 6 months, I lost money on. That's why my profit margin is a lot less per house, because I'm still doing good on a bunch, but some, just now if I screw up, it's it. I can't recover. So.
Wow.
So, okay. So you got in, originally, did you start buying 2 sub 2, or were you really trying to fix and flip when you're buying properties?
I was really mostly buying the fix and flip, or I did a lot of conventional. I bought a lot of conventional properties just to rent. I just happened to buy some sub 2s owner finance with some people that, we just kind of talked about it and it just made sense to do. I didn't really know even what we were doing back 20 years ago, but I still have some of those sub 2s I bought 15 years ago that I still have today. But it just wasn't really a known big thing. Like literally until like 2020. When I, got into Pace's program, that's when I was like, holy shit, like you could do tons of these and you could actually go after them. Like I never focused on going after them. Just if something came up and it made sense to do it, I kind of negotiated it. But now I'm like literally going after them. And about, I don't know, maybe a few months ago, I made some posts in sub 2 about anybody else that wants to own property, but they just don't have the down payment money. And they always have to assign it, but they don't want to assign it. They want to keep it. To call me or email me or message me on Facebook and send me the deal. And basically, I will, if it's a good deal, I will loan you half the money and I'll partner with you. And so
Sugar Daddy Abby, that's what I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call Sugar Daddy Abby.
Yeah, I bought a lot of properties over the last 3 months with a ton of other sub 2 students where I own 50%, they own 50%. I just lend them half the money. And this past weekend when I was in Phoenix, I told, because Pace, I was on a podcast with Pace like on Christmas Day actually, and he's like, man, you're buying all these properties from all these sub 2 students. You might be buying more than me. I was like, no, there's no way I'm buying more than you, but whatever. I'm trying to at least be like second.
Yeah.
When I talked to him this past weekend, I was like, man, we talked a bunch about all the different properties I'm buying off other people. I think it'd be super cool if you do it together and we buy stuff off other people, and then we kind of publicize it more and really get, because I mean Pace really wants everybody to own property long term. They don't want it. He doesn't want. He's like, look, we could fix and flip. That's a one-time thing. But if you own property long term, that's how you do the generational wealth. And a lot of people can't afford to do it because of the down payment money and stuff like that. And a lot of people will deal with me, but like everybody will deal with Pace, right? Pace is right? I'm like shit compared to him, right? So basically, I brought it up. I was like, look, if you want, I could, underwrite everything for us, and we could like buy properties with these other people. He's like, yeah. He's like, send me a proposal, and we're gonna do it. So actually, I'm working on to make it easy to where like we could just post something in sub 2, and I can say, look, if it fits this criteria, me and Pace will partner with you, and we'll buy it, and we'll come up with all the money. Like I'll put up all my money. I don't care. But yeah, me and Pace will partner, and we have a private money lender that has millions and millions of dollars that will fund everybody's, as long as we're involved. Like, because the private money lenders, they know me, they know Pace, and they know like different. So if we're involved, then basically so we're basically going to have millions of dollars put aside just for other sub 2 members to be able to buy deals and split it with us. So look for that. Nobody knows about that. Only you know about that now. So
hey.
So what is your criteria for that? Are you just mainly buying, because I know that you're in Atlanta. Is it mainly Atlanta and Phoenix, or is that nationwide?
So it's gonna be nationwide. So it'll be any owner finance or any sub 2 deal that fits a certain criteria. Okay. Now Pace before, like maybe in 2020, he bought some deals with some people and partnered, and it was just a pain in the ass. Just paperwork wise, accounting, it's a pain in the ass. So I'm gonna streamline it to make it easy. And Pace doesn't have the time to mess with it. Even the deals people send him, he has someone that puts it through a thing, and either it works or doesn't work. So I'll be the one that helps make sure if it makes sense or not. I'll go through with Pace like what he's good with and not good with. But as far as the money, there's unlimited money, so that's not an issue. And then as long as I'm in charge of managing the properties, he doesn't give a shit. So we'll buy. The next mission will be for him to be able to buy property with everybody in sub 2 in every state and everything, not even the states that he just likes right now, because I'll manage it. So if I help manage it and the accounting's easy, and we have unlimited amounts of money, it's going to be a cool thing that we could offer. And out there. So Pace, once we have it figured out, he'll announce it, and we'll have a cool thing.
Officially get it set and ready to roll. That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm working out all the kinks to send them to make 100% sense for them.
Cohesive, yeah.
Yeah, so it seems like you would really need to have some staff for this, though, because I was just talking to, well, I have such great relationships with sellers. And so when they sold me their house, if something's wrong with the mortgage or whatever, like we work through it. I had just one recent right now where the mortgage changed and we didn't get the email. So my servicer was pulling the money, paying the mortgage, but it was actually short on what the mortgage was.
Oh,
and so
they weren't
the escrow changed.
Yes, like I feel like the asset management around like all the escrow management and like the tax changes, the insurance changing, like that is a job. And I have
all my payments on an auto pay that automatically come out of a special account only for mortgages. And if the mortgage changed, it wouldn't matter because it pulls out the right amount. So it wouldn't even matter.
So you're not using a servicing company then?
I don't use a servicing company for anything.
Wow.
It's just easier for me not to.
Give it all set up and streamlined so it works.
And I have one person in my office that handles like the beginning of the month or the last week of every month. They double check just to make sure everything's scheduled. But we don't have any issues. I have a shit ton that we pay every single month, and I never have an issue.
Yeah.
So,
do you deal with wraps as well? Is that something that you've invested into?
Yeah. So I actually got really, really heavy into wraps. So
because there might be some new people in here. What is a wrap?
So a wrap is when there's two mortgages on the same property. So it could be either you're buying something on a seller finance or you're buying something on a subject to. Now you own it, and instead of keeping it and renting it or keeping it and fix and flipping it or whatever, you actually take it and then you re-owner finance it to somebody else. Now they have a loan with you and you have a loan with the bank. So there's two loans on the same property, and that's a wrap. Yeah. Okay. In a wrap, you can have two loans. You can have 3, 4. Like if I sold it to somebody, that's a wrap. They could sell to somebody else. It could be 3 loans, and then they could sell them 4 loans. And it's still a wrap. Just more than one loan on the property is a wrap. So up until 4 or 5 months ago, I only did like a few wraps lately, but I mainly did lease. I mainly leased it or Airbnbs or I have a bunch of rooming homes. I actually have like 9 rooming homes now in Atlanta where we just turn all the rooms into every room in the house. So like literally any home that has like good parking, a lot of good parking, not in a neighborhood, and has a decent amount of bedrooms, and then has like basements and dining rooms and living rooms and garages. I turn them all into bedrooms. So I have like 10 or 12 bedrooms in every house that I do. And then, usually they have about 3 bathrooms. Some have 2, and we just rent it out by the room. People are paying anywhere from $600 to $1,000 a month just for a room. But that's like fully furnished, and also I pay all the utilities and stuff. But that makes way more money than an Airbnb, and it makes way more money than a rental, obviously. So those are really good. I have 9 of those. So sometimes, but I'm trying to wrap stuff now because basically with a wrap, you get like a decent amount of cash flow up front a lot of times. Sometimes not so much, but usually you do. And then every single month, you're just making a ton of money, like more than even on a rental spread. But you never have to screw with anything. You don't own the house. So they mess with everything. And once you get a whole bunch of those going, the cash flow coming in is crazy. Now, eventually they're going to pay the house off. Mm-hmm. So you don't own the house anymore. But you could just keep doing them, and you're always going to have cash flow coming in forever because every single time, you buy, you just keep buying more and you keep doing it. So it's just a crazy amount. So I like that. Pace actually doesn't like the wrap strategy because
I was going to ask you what is the difference between wrapping and keeping something as a rental? Really, I mean, why are there benefits?
Yeah, so keeping it as a rental, the benefits are that you get the tax write-off. That Pace loves the tax write-off. I actually talked to Cody Barn this weekend a lot about it. So I know a lot of deals that Pace buys just for tax write-offs that I passed on. Like there's like a few deals in Atlanta that I see most of the deals and I passed on them because they're not good. And I don't want to pass on in Atlanta. They have to be really not good to pass on because I'm pretty aggressive. But these were not good. Like the only way you can make money on them is as an Airbnb. if the Airbnb does good. So I will only buy a home if it definitely does good, if it could do good as a long-term rental.
So Pace is a more seasoned investor where he doesn't necessarily depend on that cash flow, whereas you're looking at your business as, I want this property to pay for itself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care if it doesn't cash flow if I'm getting, a good deal on it in a different way. But it needs to cash flow as a long-term rental.
Okay.
But not so he bought them like knowing it would lose money as a long-term rental, and he was like, you know what? I just need the tax write-off. It's like the fourth quarter of the year. I'm just going to buy a whole bunch of shit. And he bought them, gave them to Noah. Noah runs them as an Airbnb, but even as an Airbnb, it's a lot of work, and they barely. I still don't think they barely make a little bit, but he gets that really good write-off. So that write-off's worth a lot of money. And the other thing that
wait on it, and it'll appreciate over time, hopefully.
And appreciates the rent. So he's like, look, I might not be making money this year, next year, but I'm still making money because of the tax write-off. And then on top of that, it appreciates, and eventually it's going to be worth a lot more. And then eventually the rents will be higher. So that's what he's banking on. Plus, the other thing that Pace does that nobody else could do, only him, is he talks about all the important things on when you're buying something, right? The cash flow, the equity, the interest rate, all these different things, right? Depreciation, appreciation. Well, there's one thing at the bottom that only benefits him for the most part, not anybody else. That's a big part of why he buys all that stuff, and that's the story. The story, right? So he buys a lot of this stuff because the story is cool. He's like, look, I just helped out a sub-2 student. I just helped out, I was able to buy this much extra stuff. I bought this cool sub-2, or I bought this cool owner finance. Here's the story. And it's cool because that's him. That's his brand. So the story is really cool. Those are cool stories. And the fact that he's able to buy them and help these people out is a cool story in itself. Yeah. So a normal person can't do that because they can't afford to buy stuff that doesn't cash flow just because of the story. You know what I mean? Like the story doesn't help anybody else. So he's got that.
And when Pace started, he wasn't doing that for the story either. I'm sure he turned away a lot more. But now that he's at the level that he's at, he's able to buy things and not cash flow.
I mean, he really cares about everybody in the community, right? He just wants to help everybody in the community. So if it's not like a horrible deal, it may not be a good deal, but it's like it helps somebody out, especially someone that maybe it's their first deal. That first deal is tough. Like if you can help someone with his first deal, he's all for that, right? Yeah. So or just someone that's sold him a few good deals in the past, if they need help getting rid of one that's like mediocre, he'll help them out, right? So that's kind of some of those ones that he bought. And so that's what's so cool about this thing that we're going to start doing once we have it all put together, which will be pretty soon, is we're going to have really, really cool stories of all these different people that we're able to buy from in sub-2 that wouldn't be able to buy and own a property on their own, but with our help, they could. So I was like,
that's really neat. It's a really good opportunity. So I want to make sure I don't miss this. So I asked you, why do you like wraps more than like some of these that aren't cash flowing? So why are you a wrap?
I like wraps more because they're more scalable, like for me. So if I was to buy a whole bunch of sub-2s or owner finance and have to put up 10%, 15%, 8%, 5%, whatever it is, you just spend so much money. Like eventually you're gonna have millions and millions if I wrap them all, I get all that money back plus some, and plus I still get that cash flow. So to me, it's just like you're just making so much more money right now, and you're really making more money on every aspect except at the end when
appreciation.
Except for the appreciation, right?
And the other cool thing about wraps, I know you know this, but for everybody watching, you don't have to maintain the property anymore. You've assigned, like somebody else owns it. They have to worry about all the leaks.
You're the bank. You don't call the bank. You don't call the bank to say, oh, my toilet stuff. No, you don't call the bank. So it's the same thing. No one calls you. But again, the good thing about not wrapping it is that you own it long term and you get the depreciation, and then you get that tax write-off. With the wrap, you don't have that appreciation at the end because they should own it. But I know that there's a certain percent that actually end up not paying, and you have to. But I do a RMLO on every single one, and we try to get qualified people.
You bet everybody, yeah, because you're. I mean, that's the really cool part. I think even just from the mastermind, we're around a lot of people, and this is what Pace attracts. Like your vibe attracts your tribe. Like we all want to help people. We all want to get everybody started. Which is, again, I do want to bring up the event that's happening in February that you're running. But yeah, dude, you're a good guy through and through. Everybody's been like, we joined Sub 2 at the same time. I didn't know who you were until the last year, and then everybody's like, this Abraham Gray guy is like buying everything, he's helping everybody.
I tried to friend request Caroline like a year ago. She wouldn't accept. She finally
listen. There's too many people that friend request me that aren't even in Sub 2, and I'm like, I can't. I stopped adding you until I talked to you. So,
well, you didn't know who I was until I came to the first time I really came to Phoenix was for the Golden Ticket last year. That's when we met in person and kind of hit it off. I was like, yeah, this Caroline, she's pretty cool. So
I thought the same thing. Well, okay, I want to get to this question really quickly before you move on to the next one. So Wesley asked, does Abraham have a minimum COCR? What is a COCR?
Cash on cash return. So this is the funny thing. Like, I don't have a minimum cash on cash return. So I actually have about 6 things I look at when I buy a property, and the cash on cash return isn't necessarily the most important. Like, I want cash flow, but I do buy properties with no cash flow. So here's the thing, like if I'm buying a home that's worth $100,000 and I get into it for 70 or 80,000, I don't necessarily need to have a cash on cash return because I already have a ton of equity in the beginning. And maybe if I don't have a cash on cash return, maybe it's because I'm paying down the principal a lot, right? So if I'm paying down the principal a lot, then maybe that's good enough, or if I'm if I'm buying a $100,000 home and the interest rate's high and I am paying $100,000 for it, I'm paying full price or 95%, then I need a cash on cash return. If I don't have a better cash on cash. So basically my cash on cash return depends on how good of a deal I get as far as what percent of ARV, what the interest rate is, and if there's a balloon, like if there's a balloon, my cash on cash has to be a lot better. Like I try not to buy stuff.
So what is a good cash on cash return for you when there is a balloon? Like is 5% a good cash on cash return for you?
Probably. I mean, a good one is probably like 15% or more if the other stuff's not good. But if the other stuff's good, then I don't mind having a 5% cash on cash. Because I know if I can make the money on the back end, I don't necessarily care about making on the front end. But if I can't make it on the back end, I got to make a lot on the front end. Mm-hmm. There might be some I need 15, 20, 30% on the front end. If I'm paying more than the house is worth, if I need to put a lot of, the other thing that's important is how much money am I putting down on a house? The more money I put down on a house, the more of the cash on cash return I need to have, right? If I'm buying a $100,000 home and I'm putting $5,000 down after repairs, everything, then my cash on cash return, I don't really care if it's a lot. Mm-hmm. But if I'm buying a $100,000 house and I have to have 25% into that house, I want a huge cash on cash return because I'm putting so much into it. So that's another part of it. And I actually have when I put together the thing that we're going to go out and we're going to buy, I'm going to show you all these different things that are important. And it's going to be like, imagine having a scale with 6 arms or 8 arms. One goes up, the other. So it has to be even all the way around. If everything's bad, it's not going to work. But if half are good, half are bad, it can work. So the cash on cash return is one of the 8 arms. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So it's not necessarily the most important for me.
Okay.
For us.
I'm going to jump in again just because our podcast is called Explain It. So I know that we all know how to figure out cash on cash return. How do you figure out cash on cash return, Abraham, for the new people?
Yeah. So how much money are you of your actual money do you have in it? And then how much are you getting back? So if I have, $100,000 cash into something, I need to get $10,000 a year back to have a 10% cash on cash return.
So it's per year. So technically, first year, but yes, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, obviously you don't know what's going to happen with the market. Is the rent going to go up, down, taxes going to go up, down, but you got to assume, you look at the first year and you just have to assume it's going to be similar. Obviously your cash on cash return should go up every year because rent should go up, different things should go up, but who knows, at that point, but yeah, that's how you figure it out.
Okay. I'm going to hand it over to you. I feel like I'm asking all the questions.
No, I love it. And thank you so much for, hopefully your trip back to Atlanta was okay. Coming from Arizona, I know there were some ice storms and whatnot. So
yeah, what's your weather like?
No, it was good. The weather here is great. I've been to Arizona to 3 different events Pace had in the last month and a half. I've been there a lot. I came to the Golden Ticket, then I flew back home. Then I came back for Jamil's birthday and the A&E premiere. And then I flew back home, and then I came back for the mastermind. And those were all within the last month and a half. I mean, it was
cool. Maybe we should show him the house we ran into today.
Oh yeah, we just saw. I'll show it to you offline. Potential. What did you want?
It's like a 5-bedroom property with
5-3 with a pool. It's in Mesa. It's
got some Airbnb vibes to it. Actually, it has a lot of potential.
It does. It has a mural in the back. Actually, the agent just texted me.
Yeah.
One of the questions. I'm going to say this just so everybody knows. One of the questions Ingrid had me ask was, what I asked this agent, where do they need to be? It's a divorced couple. that has to sell. It's a court ordered sale. And she's like, we're getting investors that are giving us offers at 580. They're listed at 640 right now. Ran our numbers. We need to be right around 520 or 420, 430. Am I right on my numbers?
No.
520?
We said 580, but I was like,
let's run it again. Anyways, well, sorry, go ahead.
Well, because they have an auction date. Is that
they have an auction date in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Well,
so I told her, I go shoot them a 530 because they're in a scramble mode. Mm-hmm. The risk with that though is that if they've already received an offer at 580, they could re-engage that person, and they might be, maybe at 560 or something. But. So
you had me ask that question. I can't remember exactly what you said. Is that person that gave you that 580 offer still interested? And I asked that to the agent. She said they never got back to me and they never actually presented it. So that offer is just something an agent said. Just so everybody's on here. The question was, are those people at that 580 still interested? And no, they're not. They haven't given her a legit offer. So we're going to go in at that 520, 530 mark, and I'll send it over to you and see if you're interested.
House down the street closed at 825 at the end of September. Yeah. So we're just trying to rationalize against that. So there's a lot of potential on this property, and it'd be a great place for you to stay when you come down here every other month.
Well, crazy enough, so when I came in town, Carl Allen came in town as well.
Yeah,
he came from somewhere else, but he was on Pace's last podcast. And he spoke at the mastermind for like an hour and presented. And we actually are doing the masterminds. So I've been doing these masterminds for like 3 years by myself. And I invited him to my last one. And we ended up speaking like back and forth the whole time because, he's one of my mentors. Pace and Carl are both two of my mentors. So he was like, dude, it was the most like funnest mastermind experience I've ever had. So our next event is actually our event. So it's not even my event anymore. It's like 50-50. And so it's going to be cool. So
I'm so excited for it.
We're going to be going through like half the time, my stuff and half the time his stuff. And we come from different backgrounds. So we're going to like do everything from a couple different perspectives, which is pretty cool. But the reason why I brought him up is because he actually has been living in England his whole, most of his life lately. And he is actually moving to the United States for 6 months out of the year. So he's going to live 6 months in the UK and 6 months in the US. And he was always planning to buy a place in Austin and move to Austin. Well, he just switched this weekend. He's like, Austin, I am moving to Phoenix. So he is actually looking for someone to find him now a property or owner finance in Phoenix. And he's not that picky, but he wants to be. He's like, dude, like this was like the coolest experience. All these people in Phoenix are so awesome. Plus, he actually, crazy enough, he left the mastermind for like 5 hours. He bought a business. So he bought a business in Phoenix, like a female, like cosmetic, online type product stuff. But so he has ties to Phoenix now, and he loves it there. So he's gonna end up moving there half the time.
That's awesome. So we're gonna have to shoot it over time. This would probably be a cash deal, but we can shoot it to both of you and see what you think.
Yeah, it would be a cash deal, but I think there's just a lot of room between what we could get it for and what's worth. And it's a nice area. I will say, what is the difference in the business world when you have an LOI and like in the
real estate?
Well, what's funny? Single family homes have a different LOI than multifamily. Multifamily is like almost like a contract. In the business world, when you send an LOI, what does that normally look like?
So obviously, an LOI is not binding at all. It's just kind of letting somebody know what you want to do. It doesn't become binding until you actually have a contract and put earnest money up. But there's no earnest money typically in an LOI until it's accepted.
Okay. So
with an LOI, you're just putting down all the different, the price, the terms, the date, all the different things that you want to do. And that's kind of the negotiation back and forth. So when you send the LOI, it always comes back and it gets countered back and forth. And that's what LOIs get countered back and forth in a business until everybody agrees. Once everybody agrees, then you get an attorney to actually turn it into a contract before you close on the business.
What are some of the typical things one would put in an LOI?
Well, you definitely would put down how much you're buying it for. You would definitely put up how much owner finance you're going to get. You would definitely put up what maybe the interest rate is. You'd put up like how long the loan is for. Is there a balloon? Is it amortized over a certain amount of time? When the closing date is? how much time the owner is going to be helping you in the business after you buy it. Are they going to be there for a month, 6 months, a year? At what capacity? Are they going to be there like day to day for a month, and then maybe the next 6 months, one day a week, one day a month, only by phone call? Like, so you have to put in exactly what you expect from them. Mm-hmm. And those are kind of some of the most important things that you put in an LOI when you do a business.
Interesting. It sounds so similar to like real estate. And I love that back and forth during the podcast on Sunday with Carl and Pace and yourself, where we're like, wait, are you sure you're talking about a business or are you talking about real estate? Because there's just so many overlaps. There's so
many cool things you can do that are similar. The thing with business that's true, there's so many more creative things you can do with a business that you can't do with real estate. So everything you could do with real estate, you could do with business. But then with business, there's so many more creative things you can do. Like, I know a lot of people, including myself, that have bought businesses using the inventory of the business for the down payment. They use, either they got loans on the inventory or they sold extra inventory at the closing, and they use that as a down payment. You can do that with extra equipment. Receivables, right? If you're buying businesses that have receivables, B2B businesses, business to business. There's B2C, which is like business to customers, consumers, and then there's B2B, business to business. So business to business, there's usually a lot of receivables. You can use the receivables and get a loan on the receivables at the time of closing, up to 90% of the receivables, and use that as a down payment.
And when you say receivables from a business perspective, it's how much you generally get.
How much you're owed, how much money you're owed. So let's say I sell a lot of product to somebody and they don't have to pay me for 30 days or 60 days. So they owe me money for the next 60 days, but they don't have to pay me, but it's receivable. They owe it to me. So because they owe it to me and the people that give me the loans know they're going to pay it because they're good customers, they'll give me a loan for like 90%. Like if you owe me 100,000, they'll loan me 90,000 before I get your money because they know you're going to pay me.
Got it.
You could do that. Another cool thing that you can do with business is a lot of like, depending on the business, there's a lot of different types of suppliers that sell you stuff that they want to be exclusive, right? So for instance, on a restaurant, Coke and Pepsi will fight you. Like Coke's like, no, I want you to only sell Coke. Like you very rarely go to a restaurant and they sell Coke and Pepsi. There's a very few. There are a few, but it's very few. Almost, they're either exclusively Coke or exclusively. You know why? Because they got bribed by Pepsi. They got bribed by Coke. Coke gave them $50,000 or $20,000 or $100,000. The bigger the business, the more they'll pay them. But they will actually pay you potentially, a good amount of money up front to say, look, I want you to sign a contract. You're only going to use Coke for the next 5 years or 3 years or 10 years, depending on how much, they're going to offer you. And you could actually go into a business that might not have a contract, work contracts with different vendors to only, like that happens with gas stations too. There's a lot of, gas stations that are like mom and pop that aren't like an official name. I guarantee you, like all the big gas companies, whoever the big gas companies are these days, they will come, BP and Shell, and they'll be like, look, only use BP, only use Shell. We'll give you $50,000, $100,000, but you can only use our gas for the. They'll do that, and so like you can make deals with all these different types of distributors before you close to change to only that, and they'll give you, and you can use that money as a down payment, And there's a lot of really cool different types of loans you can get for business that aren't available for real estate. But the list goes on and on. There's all kinds of creative things you can do as far as borrowing money and having like somebody interest back to, or borrowing money and giving them some part equity of the company, or a little bit of both. But we actually I just did a deal. I'm doing a deal with somebody right now on a roofing company, right? And one person is sponsoring the deal, right? I think so one person is just sponsoring the deal. They're just using their credit so they can get this loan, and they're getting like a certain percent of the business for sponsoring. I think some people do that on the Morby methods and different things like that. But the Morby method is another way you could do it, right? You can get the owner to sell you the business, and you get a loan, and then the owner will give you 20% back, 30% back, whatever, and then it's sort of like a Morby method on a business. You can do, but it keeps going. So it's cool. There's a lot of, but here's the coolest thing about business as opposed to real estate. With business, I have like about 40 businesses right now. My businesses cash flow like on average 10 to 25,000 a month each business. like cash flow, profit.
So nice.
What am I doing in real estate?
On real estate, I have 200 and some rentals, right? My average rental is maybe $500. So I have to have, 25. I have to have 25 or 30 rentals to have, compared to one business. But the thing is, it's a lot easier to buy a lot of rentals than it is. Like one business is going to take you longer. So it's just a matter of, do you want to work really hard and get one business, or do you want to work really hard and have 20? Right? So it's just there's not really a right or wrong. Like I'll do both forever. Like I love both. So it's just a lot of similarities. So everyone should try both and see what they like. Now, I definitely would say don't buy shitty businesses, because then that's a nightmare.
How do you know you have a shitty business?
If it's not making money. If it's not making money, or it's taking too much of your time. If it takes too much of your time for the amount of money you're putting into it. So every single business, right? I have 40 businesses. I have 100 businesses on my wall, because these are businesses that I own now and businesses that I've had in the past. So this is even a lot more than 40. But right now, I don't even run any of my businesses. Like I would say, like 75% of my businesses I haven't even been to in the last year.
He's so dreamy. That's incredible, because you and I talked about this at the mastermind. I've been in businesses before, but I've been an owner operator. So I didn't know that you were not operating at all. I was like, the thought of owning 42 businesses and being an operator.
My husband said the same thing. He's like, I feel like we're just trading in for drama. And that's why I'm so excited about your event at the end of February, because it seems like you're not just saying, hey, go buy a business, but like being really astute to what kind of business actually makes sense. Because that's the kind of life I want if I want to be a business owner. Oh,
one other thing. Everyone should subscribe to my YouTube or watch my YouTube videos.
Absolutely.
Hey, text it to me and I'll throw it in the side chat for you.
It's just your link. Yeah, let me text you.
I'll pull it up. I got you.
No worries. We got you.
I'll text it to you. It'll take me 2 seconds.
Don't let me tell you what to do and get you
up. So, Abraham, you got into business at a really young age. And you may have asked this, but what was your main catalyst? Like how did you know that was going to be your way?
Yeah. So my parents got divorced when I was like really young, like 1 year old or something. And I lived with my mom for a little while, and then I ended up moving with my dad. And then I was a bad kid. I didn't get along with my parents, and I was a troublemaker in school. And I ended up basically when I was 11 years old, just ended up living with foster families. So for like 11, 12, 13, I was living with foster families. And then I ended up moving into a boarding school, because even the foster families, they were like, this kid's too bad. And I went to a boarding school for like a year, and I got out. It was a boarding school to like get you to behave better, basically. And I left, and I went to a few other foster families, and eventually they didn't work out. And so I ended up moving to my grandmother's house in Atlanta when I was 15. That's how I ended up in Atlanta. But when I was, living when I was younger, if I ever wanted something, I had to ask, my foster family or, whoever. And I couldn't get anything because I didn't have my own money. I had to like rely on everybody else. It's such a shitty feeling. I just wanted to get and do whatever I wanted. And as soon as I started selling cards and started making money, I was like, you know what? I could now get this, this pair of clothes or this toy or this, whatever it was, didn't matter. I was able to get whatever I want. And there's something about it that just makes you feel good about yourself. Like as soon as you're able to like progress and make money and you feel good about yourself. So the fact that I started feeling better about myself and I was able to get whatever I want. And as I got better and better, I was able to get more and more stuff. So I just didn't want to have to rely on people ever. I wanted to have my freedom. To me, money equaled freedom. And I just want that's my main thing in life is I want everyone to be free. I want to have my own freedom. And that was just the way that I saw to get there.
So I started working when I was 13. At 13 years old, I was working at the Cardinal Stadium, the old stadium, which is Arizona State's basically, Frank Bush Field. And I remember having, actually a lot of my money I would give to my parents to like pay, because we didn't make a lot of money.
How cool is it? Your first check you ever got? How cool is that? Like
it was amazing. Actually, I was gonna ask you a question. Like, what do you remember getting with that very first like check?
What'd you buy?
I just looked at it. I just put it in my room, and I wouldn't do anything. I was just like, wow, I can't believe I made $23. I was like, holy crap. I was like, I actually made this myself. So
My first check was like $100 something.
Hey,
Mhm.
baller.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was working, minimum wage was like $3 or $4, and maybe $3 to $4. It wasn't much. $4 back in like 1989 or something. I had one job in my life. It was at a grocery store bagging groceries. So I was like 15. So right when I moved to Atlanta, my grandmother let me work at a grocery store, like part-time when I was in school. And that was the only job I ever had. So I worked there for like 6 months. And then I started selling baseball cards at the same time. And I was like, shit, I was making too much money selling cards. I quit doing the grocery store. But yeah, but it was cool to work for somebody because, you know, you need that experience. And like, the first 10 years, like from 15 to like my early 20s, I worked in every business I had. I sweated, I picked up stuff. I busted my ass for like at least 10 years, maybe longer. And I think that's really important. I think that everyone should have that experience so they know what it is and, you know, be able to understand when other people do stuff. Because when I see other people do it, I just know how hard it was and how much I sweated. And I always try
Sweat
to
equity.
100%. Yeah, my mom was she used to be a janitor, like a custodian for schools, and I remember going with her to have to clean things, you know, because I wanted my mom home, and so I would go and help her so that she could end her day much faster. So I totally agree with you because you can empathize with your employees, you can relate to their experiences, and I think that's super important, especially as a business owner or just as a human being, honestly. So.
Yeah, and you know, I never really got allowance or nothing, but I think a lot of kids made money just by getting, you know, a couple bucks here, $5 there, just for like doing chores. I think that's cool. I like that. You know, they understand that. Look, you do something productive, you know, you're going to get paid. Yeah, I think it's a good habit to put on people.
So you have 42 businesses right now.
So I didn't count exactly, but it's around 40. Yeah.
Right around 40. Okay. How many restaurants do you own?
So I have restaurants within entertainment concepts. So I have some entertainment concepts that have restaurants in them, but I don't have a standalone restaurant. But I have a couple like dessert places, like ice cream stores. But it's just, you know, it's just dessert. But yeah, I have a really nice restaurant that we just opened inside a brand new business I have. It's a putt-putt, like it's a really high-end adult putt-putt place that
Adult putt-putt.
Really
what is different?
We have a kitchen, bar, and everything.
Oh, okay. Are we gonna?
Am I gonna keep your clothes on when time's off? So
yeah, it's a really cool place. So in Atlanta, like I've been doing more entertainment stuff lately than anything. I have 16 different Bury the Hatchet locations where we throw axes. We went to a place that had go-karts, axes. So I have some stuff like that. We have arts and crafts studios. I have escape rooms. I have a lot of gyms, a lot of like CrossFit type gyms and martial art gyms.
I know you do jiu-jitsu. So do you own your jiu-jitsu gym that you?
Yeah. So I own the gym. I'm not like the instructor or nothing. There's someone a lot better than me that's the instructor. But I have a bunch of gyms, and everyone has their own instructor. They're all better than me, the instructors. But
I was just gonna say, as you evolve your businesses, are you continually evaluating them to see, like, because as somebody who was like in corporate world for such a long time, part of what we've constantly had to evaluate is like the SWOT process, right? Maybe you're familiar with swatting, where like you're constantly looking at what's your competition, like what are you good at, like, and you want to keep doing because you're really good at it, like internal issues, external issues that you have to kind of prepare for. So like, are you constantly reviewing to see, okay, do we have to debate? How are things going?
Yeah. So somebody just asked that. Kenneth asked, do you have people checking the pulse on the business, right? So, I mean, basically what we do is I review the financials once a month on every business pretty much. Or if it's not me, it's my partner. Sometimes my partner reviews it. And if there's anything weird, then we'll review it together. But if it looks normal, I let my partner review it. Because like, again, I have partners in most of my businesses and we have different roles. So that's more of their role. But yeah, you got to check the financials and see if there's anything that's changing. Like you look line item by line item, month to month and year to year to see if anything is looking weird. Like, is business going drastically down? Are costs going way up? You look to see anything that looks weird, then you have to start digging in. And so that's definitely what we do in every single business. And I could see how much money is coming in the account. if all of a sudden, I'm taking 10,000 out every month, and all of a sudden I can't take any money out or a lot less, I want to know why. So we'll definitely look into that type of stuff for sure.
That's cool.
So now I'm curious about like younger Abraham. What was one of the biggest lessons you learned when you got into like owning these businesses? Have you ever been burned by a partner?
Always, yeah. I have. Yeah, I have. So I haven't got burned really bad in a while, but yeah, look, I mean, you have to, it's just like anything else. It's like getting married, has anyone ever got divorced before? Yeah, I mean, sometimes people get divorced once, twice. Luckily, I've been with my wife for over 26 years already. So I've been with her ever since I was like my early 20s. She was like, I think she's 3 years young. I think she was 19. I was 22 when we met, but we've been together ever since. But sometimes it doesn't work. It's okay. And it's the same thing. So once you find a good partner, you try to partner with them on a lot of different ventures, right? Like Pace and Cody. Pace has had a lot of bad partners he's told me about. Mm-hmm. But when you find a good one, like Cody's fucking incredible, right? So he does a lot of shit with Cody now, right? He started with one business, now he has multiple businesses. But once you find someone good, you do a bunch of business. Now, you don't have that partner do every business with you because maybe it's not their thing. So Pace has other partners, or Pace does some stuff on his own. It's the same with me. I have one or two core partners that I do a ton of shit with, and I have two or three others that I do a decent amount of stuff with, and then I have one-off ones that I do stuff here. And you know what? A lot of the ones I do one-off with are ones that I just started partnering with in the last year, 2 years, 3 years. Once I see that we work well together, we'll start doing more stuff together. So that's kind of how you figure it out, just by trial and error. And you don't go into a partnership with someone right away that and put like too much in stake so that something really bad could happen. You just kind of like work it up until you're like, okay, I trust him. Now I could, put more faith into the guy.
Totally.
Or girl.
And
I have female partners, guy partners. I have everything. So.
Well, you're about to have 2 Arizona partners out.
I hope so.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. When you think about what's to come, so like Abraham in 5 years, maybe 10 years, what's your vision in what you want? Like, do you want to conquer the world? Like, what does Abraham want to do?
Yeah, so I mean, I've made so much money over my time. I actually had one business, my best business I ever had. I made so much money, people won't even believe me, but they'll see. And I have lots. So I have lots of businesses that make tens of millions. I've had a lot of businesses that made over $10 million in profit. I had one that made over $100 million in profit.
Wow,
that was like my biggest one. I had it for like 7 years, and so that's why I just have so much money. I can buy whatever property, or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's impossible to run out. I don't buy multifamily very rarely. I have like a little bit of multifamily, but I don't like it. It doesn't excite me. People that like multifamily only focus on multifamily. They don't like single family. It's something different. They're both good. It's just a matter of what fits your trait. So I love single family, and that's what I. But so I've had some incredible. So going forward, this is where I screwed up. This is where I really screwed up. Okay, I'm usually like pretty good and have good instincts and get into the stuff like before anybody else. So the one thing I really messed up bad is I never started building like a social media and a YouTube channel until really 6-7 months ago. So Pace came over to me like about less than a year ago. He's like, man, and he went to everybody in Sub 2. He's like, you guys need to have a YouTube station. You need to have a YouTube channel. You need to do a lot more on social media, on Instagram, on Facebook. I always did some stuff on Facebook, but not a lot. But I never messed with TikTok and Instagram, and never had a YouTube or any of that stuff. So the last 6 months, I really, really got heavy into everything, social media. So that's where my biggest downfall was. So now I hired 3 people that work for me full time. I'm spending like $20,000 a month just making content. That's it. I don't even make any money. I lose it. It's money. It's gone. But I get a lot more deals and stuff like that from it. And eventually,
how many deals would you say a month you're getting from social media?
Oh, I get a lot from posting stuff on Facebook and stuff, and a lot. I would say that probably 25 to 30% of my deals come from that, at least. Wow. And I'm buying, I was buying 30 deals a month for a long time. Now I'm buying about half that, but so I'm still getting 5 deals a month on social media. I used to get 10 at least.
But now people know you're buying because you're loud. Like without social media, people don't know you exist.
Yeah, exactly. And my funnel is crazy. Like I get 100+ emails every single day with deals sent to me. I don't even have to ask people anymore to send me deals. Like everybody knows to send me deals. So a lot of it started with social media, but now with YouTube, yeah. So my main thing now is to grow my YouTube. That's what I've been doing. So I started it like 6.5 months ago. I think I have like 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers now, but my goal is to grow that as big as I can this year. So I'm spending a lot of money on editors and film crews and just whatever I need to. I'm going out there. I'm going out to all these different events, right? I was just in Vegas last week at Ryan Pineda's event with Pace, and Jamil was there. So I'm going to a lot of these different events, and I'm just trying to, do more stuff. So that's my main target right now, is do that. Because everything else I've kind of done. Like my life is so good. I'm always happy. I'm always helping people. I'm always in a good mood. I'm never stressed. It's been like that for a decade, But I haven't. Every single person that I know, like that everybody knows, is popular because of their YouTube, because of their social media. So that's the only thing I haven't done yet. So that's like my next thing. So hopefully I'll get to like big numbers by middle end of the year. And
what are big numbers for you? 15,000?
No. I'll be at 10,000 in the next month and a half. I think because I'm growing at like every single day I'm getting between 30 and 60 new subscribers probably. Just because a lot of people are sharing my stuff. I just gotta have one video go viral, and then you pick up tens of thousands really fast. It's just that one video. So I'm focusing now on a lot of shorts. I didn't do hardly any shorts the first 4 or 5, probably the first 3 or 4 months. I didn't do any shorts. Now I do a ton of shorts because everybody can watch shorts. They're 5 seconds, and then you get one short that goes good. Then they'll start watching your longs, and then that's kind of like the whole thing. I'm learning about it more. I'm taking some classes, courses. I have people that are teaching me, but yeah. So the more you grow with your social media, the more that people will listen to you, the more that you can do deals with people, the more you can help people because they know that you're real and you're serious. So that's how I know Pace just hit 100,000 like a couple months ago. Now he's already at 140, 150. Once you hit those big numbers, it just grows fast. It took him a few years to get to 100,000. Look at the 200,000 in less than 6 months. From the 100,000. And then 300,000. So that's how it works. And then that's my main thing I'm trying to do right now.
Push social media, just want people to see you.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. I don't want to keep you longer than we need to, but I don't think Joel was on here earlier when we talked about, asked the question, how are you managing all these? Do you have a manager for it? I know we talked about it, but let's just recap really quickly. When you buy businesses, you're not the owner operator. Who is?
Yeah. So how do I manage them? So, all right. So I have a whole system, and it's very similar. So I'm like I have partners in almost all my businesses. 90% plus of my businesses, I have a partner, and we're each in charge of different things. So what I'm in charge of finding the business, whether it's an existing business or something new to start. But usually you should buy something from someone. So I'm the one that searches it. Then I do the due diligence on it. Then I figure out what it's worth, right? Comping it or figuring out what it's worth. Then I'm the one that negotiates it and basically buys it. So from the beginning of trying to find it to negotiating it to figure out what it's worth, that's all me. I'm the only one that does that. And then I buy it. Once I buy it, I'm done for the most part. Obviously there's a little bit of stuff I do, but I have my other partner that operates all the businesses. He can't find them. He can't negotiate them. He can't do all that stuff. He doesn't know what they're worth exactly as easy as fast as I could. And then, but I don't have the patience to operate them all. That's what he enjoys. So then I have someone that operates all my businesses, right? And in the beginning, when I was in my early 20s, I did everything. I found them, I started them, I ran them, I grew them, I did everything. And I did the accounting and the legal. But you know what? I was only able to do a few businesses every few years. Now I could literally do dozens of businesses at the same time because I'm focused just on one thing and my partner is focused on the other stuff. So a lot of businesses, I have two partners, and we just have different tasks. So because we all have different tasks, we can focus on just the task that we have to do. And if you need help with your task, you have a ton of assistants, you have a ton of general managers, district managers. Like my operations partner, he doesn't operate any of the businesses. He's just in charge of the general managers of each business, So he only deals with them, and then they deal with, their managers. Those managers deal with, so there's a whole chain of how it works. But yeah, you can't be in charge of everything. You just gotta really, I really enjoy doing what I do. Like I wake up every single, like I go to bed every night. And I can't wait to get up because I got this deal I'm going to negotiate. I got this sub 2 deal I'm going to buy. I got something, And but if I have to wake up, if I have to go to sleep knowing that tomorrow I have to operate a business, I have to try to do the accounting, I wouldn't even want to get up. But I got only do what I enjoy doing. It's what I'm good at, and it's what I enjoy doing. And then my partner does what he enjoys doing, what he's good at, and then whoever else. So that's how you do it. And then you have a lot of really, really good help. Like I always say, without Cody, Pace wouldn't be anything. Without Pace, Cody wouldn't be. It's the same thing. Like you need both. Like it doesn't work without one. If Pace didn't have a Caroline and didn't have, he would fall apart. You know what I mean? Like it's just you need all the right people around you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm gonna let you ask the next question after I say this. What is your favorite way to spend time when you're not buying businesses and doing jujitsu? What do you do for fun outside of?
And you said jujitsu. I was gonna say jujitsu.
I know. That's why I had to take that away. What do you do outside of like all of the?
I like spending a lot of time with my family, right? So I have a wife and 3 kids, and I'm out of town. I've been out of town a lot lately. I used to not be out of town as much. So when I'm in town, I try to do stuff. So every Friday night we have a date night. So I go out every night. We go like whatever. It could be a movie. It could be a comedy club. It could be whatever it is. We got to the gun range last week. But we go out to dinner and stuff like that. And then of course over the weekend I go do stuff with my kids because they're in school every single day, and then I don't get home until late because I go to the gym at night, so I don't see them a whole lot every night, just a little bit. So we'll go out like this weekend. I'm taking a trip. We're going to Tennessee. It's like a 3-hour drive. It's Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. So actually, Keston lives there now, so I'm going to hang out with Keston, and we'll go. Whatever. We'll do whatever tourist stuff they have there. So
when you go there, go to the Titanic place and let me know how long you can keep your hand in the freezing water.
Titanic place. Okay, I'm gonna write that down. Yeah.
So tell us, what's the gray method? Not everything is black and white.
So the last 3 years, all my business masterminds were called the gray method. So my last name's Gray. So everything I do is creative. So the gray method is not everything's black and white because it's, even my name wasn't Gray. It's kind of cool, but because my name's Gray, it's even cooler. So that was my logo for those. But the next event, it's not called the gray method anymore. It's the first time. Now it's like mine and Carl's thing, so we changed the name, but that's what it was. The last 3 years, I did events, and there's probably been like, I don't know, I always have 100 people at every event, and I've done it for like 3 years. I have a couple a year, but there's been probably a good amount of people that in sub 2 and astro flipping, because I'm an astro flipping also, and that have come to the event, and a bunch of other, just friends I know and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what it was. It was that event.
What should I expect in going to the event at the end of Feb? Like what are your best like tips for us, and especially since we're not in the business the traditional business world, like what should we prep for?
Your mind's going to be blown because you're going to realize
excited.
Well, you're going to realize what you can do that no one thinks is capable, because like there's so many people that teach real estate. Nobody as good as Pace, but there's plenty of people that teach it. But there's very few people at all, anyone that teaches business and creative business particularly. And when you see what's possible and what's out there, and when you learn about it, because nobody knows, it'll blow your mind. But when you leave, you'll be able to tell what every single business is worth, right? Just like comping a property. You'll be able to figure out how to find all the businesses, what businesses are good for you, how to get the money so you don't have to use your money. Just really every single thing that you could possibly know about business, how to grow it, how to operate it, how to deal with partners, how to deal with managers, how to deal with employees, how to grow it, but what to do before you sell it, all these different things. And you're gonna pretty much know everything at the end of the 3 days, because they're 10-hour days. So every single day there's 10 hours of learning, and then afterwards we go out every single night for a few hours to like a Dave and Buster's or a Topgolf, or and we network and have fun, just like we did at the masterminds. Same thing. And it's you'll get the cool thing about these masterminds, just like Pace's and everyone else's, people in the mastermind become really close, really good friends, and everybody does deals with each other. So like literally when I left that mastermind, there was like dozens of people that I saw were already doing deals together. I'm doing deals with some people from there's some people I didn't even know that well, but now we're like really good friends. and we're about to do some deals together. So just the networking.
We gotta get to it, man.
Yeah, we gotta be there. So what is the website? Because I was trying to look it up. I can't remember. What is the website?
It's Dealmaker.live.
Dealmaker.live. Okay, and then we can see if there's any spots or if there's an opportunity.
Yeah, there's still like some slots, and Pace is gonna. Oh, this is the cool thing. This is the cool thing about this event. So it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're gonna have Thursday, the day before. We're gonna have a sub-2 meetup because Tampa, Orlando has a shitload of people there. And Alexis Morgan, if you know her, she's gonna help us coordinate. She lives in Orlando, so she's gonna help us coordinate and get as many sub-2 people there. So we'll have a sub-2 meeting on Thursday evening. We'll figure out the time and where it's gonna be. But then on Monday, Pace is going. So Pace is bringing his wife and kids and everything to the mastermind. But on Monday, the day after it's over, he is going to take anybody that is in sub-2 that's there, or even other people that just live there, to all his properties he's bought in Tampa, and he's going to show them how he bought them, how he got them, and just let people walk through and ask questions. And I actually bought some properties in Tampa over the last year on the creative finance that I do Airbnbs with, that if there's time and it's close to his, I'll show you mine, how I bought them. And most of the ones I bought, I actually bought off sub-2 students. And
you bought one in Dunedin.
Dunedin, yeah, I was showing because she was like, "Oh, Dunedin's so good." I was like, "Yeah, I got one in Dunedin too." So that's the Airbnb we have in Dunedin, which is right basically by Tampa. So, but I know Pace is really active in Tampa. So so Monday is a bonus. We're just gonna go around and look at all that stuff.
All right, well, good to know. So we can book our flights and stay there a little bit longer.
Yeah. Thank you for telling us now.
Well, Abraham, thank you for jumping on here today. So let's just you came on here. Let's get back to you. So we can follow you on YouTube, follow you on Instagram, same Instagram handle as your YouTube handle.
No, YouTube is Abraham Gray Official.
Instagram is, yeah.
Abraham Gray Official, both with 2 F's. So there's a fake Abraham Gray Official.
Yeah, don't get tricked.
There's somebody a fake one with 1 F, and they want you to invest Bitcoin with them. I don't do crypto. If anybody asks you to do crypto, if I ask you to do crypto, it's not me because I don't know anything about crypto.
So the easiest way that I tell if somebody's legit, if I follow them, if Ingrid and I follow Abraham, that's the one you guys should be following.
That's right.
Yeah.
Abraham, thank you so much. Do you have any other things to say before we wrap up?
I just want to say it was really a pleasure to get to know you and Carl this weekend, and the fact that we got to talk to you so much because we see how much you give back, and like, I just got goosebumps talking about it. And I love that because it's a culture that we want to make sure sticks around, which is how do we help each other be successful? Yeah. And that's really like how the tide rises all boats.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Really, thank you so much for everything you do for the community. And
everybody always says you give so much, but I feel like I get way more than I give. Trust me. Like,
yeah,
I feel like I get. So the more you give, the more you're going to get. You know, it just works out that way. But I definitely get as much or more than I give. I try to give as much, but like, it's crazy how much, how it comes back.
For sure.
Abraham, thank you. Have a good night with your wife and kids. I know it's late over there, so thank you.
All right. I'll see you later. Thanks.
See ya. Bye.
Okay, bye.